Hello and welcome to my kitchen. Today we are going to be making some pumpkin pie, and it is our first rainy day of the year of fall. So I'm really excited about that. It feels like fall/winter today. It's rainy, drizzly, and it's super exciting. I'm in my comfy clothes and it felt like a good day to make some pumpkin pie. But first, my kitchen is a disaster, so we're gonna clean it. Let's get started. Okay, so my kitchen's all clean now, yay. And today we're gonna be making this pumpkin pie with a real pumpkin. I don't have any canned pumpkin right now, and I have a little pie pumpkin, so I thought I would do that. So first things first, we are going to set our oven to 375, and this will bake for 45 minutes to an hour. We're just gonna set it in whole, just like this, just on a cookie sheet. So let's do that. Okay, so since the pumpkin's gonna take about 45 minutes, I thought I would water all my houseplants. So, and I do need to fertilize them. So I have more in other rooms. I'm gonna bring them all to the sink, fertilize them, water them, and let them drain for a little bit before I put them back in their spot. This isn't their, eventually I'm gonna have all these in cute pots. I have them in like nursery pots still, some of them. So yeah, just thought I would bring you guys along. Okay, so I have some of them in the sink. Any of the ones that I have holes in the pots, I put in the sink and then let them dry. This one doesn't have a hole in the bottom of the pot, so I only put like a half a cup of water in it. I'll put that guy in the sink. And then this guy, I just put a little bit of water, and the outer pot doesn't have a hole, but the inner pot does, so kind of just bottom water feed. So yeah, and then I'll show you what I use to fertilize. So just kind of water them down, get the leaves, dust off the leaves. I do this about once every other week, I want to say. I don't fertilize every other week, though. I fertilize like every other month, probably. Okay, and then for fertilizing, I do this probably every other month. At first I was telling myself every 4 weeks, but that's not realistic for me. It's probably more every other month. I use this Espoma organic indoor houseplant food, and it works really good. So, and I just do what the instructions say on the back, which it's 1 dose per quart of water, which a quart is 4 cups of water. So, and then these things, they have like a stopping mechanism on them, so you just tip it until it stops. See, that's 1 dose. And then you just fill it up with water, and I distribute it through the plants. Most of the time I have to do 2 of these for all my plants. So this thing likes to not work. Okay, 2 more plants, I think. Look how long this one is. I grew this. Ooh. So pretty. I want to cut some of these off the end and propagate them and plant them back in the top because the top's a little bare, but so I'm just gonna let these sit in the sink until my pumpkin is done in the oven to drip dry, and then I'll put them away in their spot. Okay, it's been 45 minutes, so I'm going to poke this and see if it's done, and if not, I might let it go a little longer. So it's not as soft as I want it to be, so I'm gonna let it go another 15 minutes. Okay, so the pumpkin is done, and you just want it to be able to like poke through pretty nicely. So now I'm going to cut it open without burning myself, and we'll let it cool just for a few minutes before I scoop the insides out. My knives need to be sharpened desperately. Okay, there we go. Look how pretty that is. It smells amazing too, wow. So I have my pumpkin puree now. I just took a spoon. Once it's cooked all the way through, it's soft enough to just like get the puree part, the pulp part away from the skin. And then you saw me just take my immersion blender to it, and I didn't add anything then to it. I just immersion blended it, and it's now a pureed consistency. So let's get started on the pie filling, and then we're gonna roll out our crust. Okay, first things first, we're going to do 2 cups pumpkin puree. This is equivalent to 1 can of pumpkin puree. There's really not that much left in my bowl, so I'm just gonna put the rest of it in. But you would do 1 can. So generous 2 cups, which 2 cups is 14 ounces, and a can is usually 15 ounces, so that was like the perfect size pumpkin. Wow, I'm gonna put the recipe below. I'm not gonna say the measurements, but I'll put what I'm doing in the description. So next we, any type of milk you want or heavy cream. Okay, next we're gonna do some pumpkin pie spice. A little bit of cinnamon. Arrowroot powder. Salt. Next, I'm gonna put in some vanilla. This is my homemade vanilla. It's kind of in a weird container, but I just make sure I have a clean spoon when I dip into it. Next, some brown sugar. This is homemade brown sugar, and I do have a video on that. I'll link. And before I add the eggs, I'm gonna taste it to see if it needs anything. That's good. I'm gonna add a little bit more pumpkin pie spice. I had this pie crust in the fridge for a few days. I was gonna do this a few days ago and I haven't. So for some reason, I have absolutely no pie pans. I had some and I have no clue what happened to them. I must have left them when I made a pie last. I have no idea, last holiday or something. So I'm gonna use this. It's gonna look like a weird pumpkin pie. Okay, so here it is. I am going to cover it with foil for like the first 30 minutes and so it doesn't burn, and then I'll take that off. This is probably gonna cook for about an hour. It's a little fatter than a typical pie pan, but okay, so it is done. I had to cook this probably like twice as long as a regular pie, just because it's like twice as thick. It doesn't look that deep, but it's pretty deep. Pie pans are like half of that. So, so cook it in a pie pan, less time. You'll have to cook it for less time. So this is what it looks like. And then you can't have pumpkin pie without, oh, this has been out of the oven for about 45 minutes. So it's cool enough to touch. And then I just made some whipped cream. I have my fancy dancy whipped cream thing, and we're gonna cut it and taste it. I don't even know how to cut this thing. It's in such a weird shape. 2 hours is too long for a crust. Smells freaking amazing in here. Good consistency. So let's try it. Okay, moment of truth. Get the whipped cream back on. It's still a little warm, so it's kind of melting. Can't have pumpkin pie without whipped cream. Oh my gosh, it's falling apart on me. Oh my gosh, that's so good. It's definitely, since I had to cook it longer, that's way too long for a crust. So it's kind of hard. The crust is hard, but the inside is seriously perfect. So make sure to do this in a pie pan. That is seriously so good. Why do we have pumpkin pie just once a year? This needs to be like every day. I'm already out of whipped cream. One thing I forgot to mention is roughly you're gonna cook it probably for an hour to hour and 15 minutes in a regular pie pan. But if you have to cook it in something different, I just cook it until the knife comes out clean. So and it's not like super jiggly anymore. You wanna make sure that center is cooked. So that can sometimes take a little while. So anyways, just thought I would tell you. Okay, so that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you try this out, and thanks for hanging out with me in my kitchen today and watering my plants with me and making a pie. So I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.